Okay.
What did you see on film that you didn't necessarily see during the game when you watched that one?
Well, a couple of things. I thought we were really good at executing a game plan defensively. When you talked about taking a team that had three really good shooters, staying locked in to run them off of screens and never go under a screen, we were like, there were probably 30 different opportunities, and we were probably 27 out of 30 times right where we needed to be. For a team this young, that's a real good indication of the potential of where we could go defensively. Number two, just like I thought during the game, I thought we were nervous. I thought we shot the ball a little bit too hard at times. But once we got into that groove, we've looked like we looked in practice, where the ball was moving. We were shooting in great rhythm, and we had an opportunity to score at a couple different positions, and I thought we did a nice job that way. The third thing, I thought there were a couple of forced shots by guys, and I think they saw that on tape, where they knocked themselves out of rhythm. But the biggest indicator to me that I thought we needed to work on was rebounding, and that'll take care of itself in a sense as we get our bigger guys back to practice, and Drick Bernstein and Devontae Cooper.
Does it ever take a while for you to adjust to a new coaching staff, kind of on the bench, and communications and verbal cues with those guys?
Yes, I mean it's been a learning process for them, quite frankly, because they've got to learn new terminology. They don't know our plays, offense, defense, baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds. So you're literally are coaching and teaching players as coaches, I should say, just like you are the players. But we got a lot of that out of the way prior to coming into the start of the season. So they're pretty acclimated to the style of play we want to do. And where they're really, really valuable is the mentoring piece. They're excellent on the bench and in practice with these guys in terms of what I would call moving the needle with them. But the X and O part, that'll take some time to gel. Even though I don't want to overcomplicate this, if you can get guys to play hard and play with a lot of confidence, it'll take place with a lot of the X and O's.
Were you happy with the pace that you saw?
No, I think we could play a lot faster. And again, I thought that was just first game jitters, I would call it, which we're going to go through a few times because that was just the first game jitters in an exhibition game. Now here comes the start of your conference season. And I think we'll play a lot better when we get to game 2 and 3. And then all of a sudden you got to go on the road and go through this all over again with guys that have not been in this position yet. So the sooner we can get them acclimated to playing at this level, starting at this level, shooting the ball at this level, having pace at this level, the better we're going to be. So I like the potential of this team and where it could go.
How does the exhibition win help you prepare for the season opener?
You know, I think the thing, number one, it's a win. Number two, I think it gives us an opportunity to play players that have not been in starting roles with the fans out there, have not gotten major minutes with the fans out there, guys that redshirted last year. An exhibition game gives all of those guys an opportunity to have confidence.
What will the preparation and practice look like ahead of Texas Southern?
It'll be a lot of defense, and a lot more defense. And obviously, we're going to really work on rebounding the ball. They got great size on their team. They'll have a game underneath their belt playing Gonzaga on Friday night, so we'll get a chance to see them play as a team. We'll sit and watch them, but the preparation this week for us is just a lot of defense and a lot of offensive and defensive rebounding the ball.
Do you have your players watch big games like against Gonzaga when your opponents are coming up?
We will do that. We will do that this week. Now, often we don't, but this week we'll do that together. Usually they watch them on their own.
Okay. What makes Texas Southern unique?
The fact that they went to the NCAA tournament last year. I think you'll get an experienced team. They don't have everybody back, but they got enough of the key players back that'll make them unique to us because they're a tournament team already with some of their personnel and coaching staff.
Will you guys will you send somebody up to Spokane to watch the game? Is that valuable to do that, or?
We're not allowed to do that, but the fact that everything's on TV now, we'll sit and sit together as a team and watch it. And you know, Coach Seltzer has the scout. We played them a couple of years ago, so there's enough information out there to gather. And the real good thing for us is that you get a chance to see them live and in action, and then obviously have the film to study it as well too.
Do you think it was almost better that some of the early shots didn't go in on Sunday, so you had to overcome some adversity rather than kind of having it easy from the get-go?
I would say yes and no. I think the game, again, as I mentioned, is kind of going to be a microcosm, I think, of our season. in that you got to get jitters out. You got to overcome adversity. You're going to have to settle. You're going to have to play defense. You're going to have to calm yourself down. You got to learn how to close games and all those things that took place in that game. That's going to be the season in itself with the competition that we play. So the thing I was pleased with, that even though we didn't shoot the ball well to start, we had great looks and we took great shots. So as a staff, it wasn't about getting overly excited, overly anxious. It was really just calming them down, because those same shots came up towards the end of the first half and the second half, and I thought we shot the ball extremely well.
Wait, Chaz, do you have any questions?
I was going to ask you, Coach, what Frank's offseason was like, and if it's fair to expect a somewhat similar leap to what Hawkinson had when he started to get more prominent minutes once you got here?
Robo's offseason, I think the thing that really helped him immensely was the trip to China and going over with athletes in action and being put in a role where he played a lot. The competition may not have been great, but just taking that trip, getting that practice, it's like a manager, obviously summer tour for him, that really, I think, gained a lot of valuable insight in terms of confidence, starting, being on a team where there's no more longer Josh or an Ike out there. And I just think, again, his grit and drive, he put in a lot of work this summer. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's taken close to 50 pounds off his body in 2 years. That's a lot of grind, a lot of grit, a lot of determination to want to be great. So I'm happy for him, because I think that leap is coming. Josh made his between his freshman and sophomore year with us. It's taken Robo an extra year, but I do see that leap coming for him. He's a tremendous player and can really score the ball.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, looking back at film, what did you see from Arinze and Quentin film-wise that you got to see a second time?
With both Arinze and Quentin, I saw on the floor in the first half, both of them were really nervous, overly excited. I didn't think Arinze was as bad as Quentin. Quentin threw the ball away a couple of times and gave up easy buckets in doing it, but I thought both of them settled down in the second half. Quentin played more minutes, but I thought he did a much better job of staying in rhythm with things. And even when Arinze went back out, he was much more relaxed. So the more those guys can play, just like this team, the more games we can get underneath our belt, the more of this entire team will calm down. Because I've seen a team in practice that has really been a really, really good shooter and really share the ball. And they need to be able to do that under the bright lights. And then when they're able to conquer that, then they have a chance to grow. But that's going to take some time yet.
Expecting to get more minutes out of Arinze with the thinness up front, depth-wise?
You know, minutes come as guys perform. So as long as he's performing when he gets on the floor, we need more minutes out of Arinze, as we do Quentin, as we do Carter as well too. But keep in mind again that we get Drake back sometime, hopefully within the next week or so. He won't be ready for these games coming up. So Arinze has to be ready to play, and as well as hopefully Devontae Cooper will be ready to play as well too.
And speaking of Devontae, what do you need to see from him this week to get the go on Sunday?
Well, he worked out a little bit today. We're going to work him out again on Thursday. And as long as we see him not taking any steps backwards, we're planning on him being available on Sunday to give us some limited minutes. And what that is, I don't know yet. But I'm hoping that he's a guy that can get back to the court this week in some 5-on-5 stuff. And if he can do that, then he can step out on the floor for us on Sunday as well.
Coach, you mentioned that Texas Southern has a lot of height. How do you game plan for a team that maybe even out heights you just a little bit, or
well, one thing coaches don't do is tell you their game plans. But just keep in mind that they have 7'2", 240. And he's going to be a load for us to handle. The biggest thing with somebody with that size is you got to pay attention to keeping him off the glass, because he could cause us a lot of problems if he's getting easy putbacks.
Thanks, Coach. That's all we have time for today. Thank you.